Hello, hello. Welcome to day 4 of our Write and Publish Your Bestseller on Amazon challenge. I would love to know if you are with me, you're listening to me, you've joined me live. I would just love you to say hello. I would love to know that you can hear me. I'd love to know where you're listening from. And I believe you would be getting the best out of today's training. So if you're listening to me, if you're here live, kindly join and say hello. In the meantime, let me invite some people so that they won't miss out, okay? So thank you for joining me. I hope more people will get to join in and listen to us. So who is excited about day 4? I am. We have come thus far. That's lovely. Day 1, we spoke about your why, identifying your why. Day 2, we spoke about having your book idea. So if you've been following us, I believe right now you should know the purpose for which you're writing. Why is it that you want to be known as an authority? You want to grow your business, you want to get increased leads, you want passive income. What is the reason why you're writing your book? Okay, so I'm looking forward to you joining me live and listening to what we have to say. Okay, and day 2, we also spoke about market research, ensuring that you're not just writing for you and your family. You're not writing just because, okay, I know this thing and I just feel like writing. Well, there is nothing wrong with that, but if you hope to write a bestseller, if you hope to write a book that would make an impact, then you should be looking at writing a book that addresses the pain points of people, their frustrations, writing a book that can help people achieve the kind of results that they desire. And that's the kind of book that people definitely want to buy. Okay? And yesterday we spoke about identifying your core message. People should be able to say, this is what I learned from this book. You should be able to describe your book maybe in about a sentence or just some few words and say, this is what this book is about. So having a core message, the goal for your readers, such that they will be able to say, this is the transformation I've experienced by reading this book. Okay? So we also spoke about identifying your target audience. I illustrated that, for example, my book, The Competent Entrepreneur, How to Hack Your Way to Competence Through Quality Training via Low or No Cost. I had to identify that the ideas I had within the book were best suited to entrepreneurs. There were other ideas as to how to get quality training for free or at discounted cost that I could think of. But in the end, I had to remove them from the book because I was like, these ones are better suited to career persons. And right now, most of the ideas I have are better suited to entrepreneurs. So let me address it and say this book is for entrepreneurs, because you'd be able to attract the people that will buy your book better that way. Whatever it is you're going to say will be able to resonate properly with them. We also spoke about social media, your bio, for example, like Facebook, where you have introduction. Let it be able to say things about you and what you do, pertaining, especially as relating to the book. People should be able to go to your profile and see that, okay, this person that is writing this book and this person's profile sort of matches. If you're saying you're a coach and maybe on your page people are tagging you on everything and it's just appearing on your profile, and they're talking about stupid things that are not related to what you do, they should be able to go to your profile and say, oh, okay, this person has been talking consistently about this topic that his book is about. Okay, I think this person is probably an authority on it. I think I should buy this person's book. Okay, and we also spoke about testing, identifying, getting notification list. First of all, you add value. Your target audience, part of the reasons why we need to be able to identify them is because your marketing should also be able to resonate with them. You should know where they are located online and offline, such that you can also be in the communities where they are located. You can help them solve their problems. You can listen to the problems that they're having, and you could say, oh, I'm creating 5-day challenge. If you're a skincare person, how to have clearer skin without spending a fortune, how to have clearer skin without using chemicals that can damage your skin and make you look older when you are in your 50s. So we're just going to be using natural skincare products. And day 1, you say, oh, you can use cucumbers for your eyes. Day 2, you say, oh, you can use tomatoes. And day 3, you now provide the different things. And at the end, you can now say, oh, okay, if you'd like to know more, I have this book, and you can now launch your book that way. You can now pre-sell your book. So the whole idea is you don't have to waste time writing a book that nobody will be interested in, writing a book that probably only you and your family members would want to read or buy. Okay, so today we're not going to be talking about how to write your book fast. We have this 30-day period in which it's our desire to write and publish our book on Amazon. It's something we could do. Okay, so you have to believe it. You have to believe it. You have to know, I can do this. So I would love you to say, I can do this. You can do this if you believe you can. Okay, so there's this method called mind mapping that enables you to achieve a whole lot. Mind mapping, how does it work? You would set aside time, like 30 minutes. Maybe you can get your timer, ensure there are no distractions. You get your piece of paper and a biro, a pen or a pencil. Let's just say pen and paper. Ensure that you have told other people that please don't distract me. Also ensure that you can go to a place where you can just sit down and begin to write. If you remember yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Hello, Beto. Thank you for listening. Sharon, Adebimpe, Olorudon, Francis, thank you for joining and listening. I hope you're getting value. Fantastic. Okay, so what you need to do is to ensure that you start writing. We spoke about when you are trying to get your book idea, we do free writing, in which for like 15 minutes you just begin to write down things that come to your mind. You're not canceling ideas until you finally decide on your book idea. So you have to listen to day 2 to know how to identify your book idea, and we stated different questions that could help you with ideas to write down and how to finally choose which book you should be writing during this period. So right now, what you do is everything you know about that topic, just begin to write it down. Remember, we've chosen our book idea. Remember, we're talking about a book topic and not book title. Don't choose your book title till the end. In short, your target audience might even help you choose your book title. You would have to brainstorm that. If you get stuck with trying to choose a book title right now, it can affect the writing process, because you might be locked in, boxed up in saying, okay, this is what I want to write, and this is the title, and you're trying to fit everything you're writing to fit into the title. Okay, and in the end, remember, there are certain things that make a book a bestseller. The title is one of it. You need to be able to connect with your target audience. At some point, when I needed to publish my book, in short, the name of my book sort of changed over time before I finally published it. There was a time I had to go to a certain group and say, oh, okay, in short, I first of all asked a few friends. I asked some people on WhatsApp. I asked my family members. You don't ask people just anyhow. Just ensure you're asking the right people, okay? And in the end, I now took it to another place where my target audience were, and I'll say, oh, which book title do you like the most with the subtitle? And when I saw the one that had a higher number, and of course I could identify my target audience within the people also commenting, that enabled me to finally choose the book title. So the book title is not something you should be worrying yourself about at this stage. Now, like I was talking about the mind mapping, just everything that comes to your mind about that book idea, just begin to write it down. This is the way you start. There is the central theme, the central topic. You can write it down in the middle of the book. You circle it, and from there you now use like your biro to branch out with a stroke, a line, and you now write another idea. Then if that idea has sub ideas or whatever, just be branching out. And I'm going to put up a video that would show a little bit more about what mind mapping is all about. But basically it's usually rough, it's messy, so don't say, oh, my book is not looking so nice. Different people have different ways by which they do their mind mapping. Some people use softwares, computer software to do their mind mapping. They do it on their computer. Some actually first of all start on a sheet of paper, then they not transfer it to their computer. So that way you're just branching off, and as the ideas come, you begin to write it down, and you're just branching off from the main idea, writing down thoughts, things that pertain to that book topic. You do that for like 30 minutes, then you can now take a break. Now, for some people, what they choose to do is after they have done that process, they take a break, they leave it, they can sleep on it, or they put it on their wall where they can glance at it, and later on, they can come back to it. Because it might be while you're in the shower, maybe later on in that evening, other ideas pertaining to that topic will come. So what mind mapping is a brain dump. Everything basically that comes to your mind that you can think of about that topic. Remember, when you're writing your book, you should have a core message. But for now, you're just dumping everything down. You're not trying to cancel anything, so that eventually you'll be able to group those ideas together, and based on the core message, now know how you could group your chapters and sections and all that. If you carry out this process, it's going to make the writing process way faster, because this is the stage in which you are trying to pour out everything you know. After this, you'll now be able to say, oh, this and this will form the chapters, the sections, and all that. So after you've done the 30 minutes, you've given yourself a break, then you come back, any other ideas, you add it to that sheet of paper. Some people use a whole cardboard, some people use like a big wallpaper or anything like that. Now try to divide the contents into about 5 to 7 central themes, like central ideas. For example, maybe you're writing a book on recipes, and you have done your mind map, you have done your brain dump. Part of it can now be, okay, let's even divide this thing into like sections, maybe like 5 to 7 sections. Part of it could be sourcing for the materials. Part of it could be timing. But just ensure that they are like higher level sections. And now try to pick each idea you've written down in that your mind map and put it under each group. Okay, now everything might not fit in directly or perfectly. Part of the reasons why we're saying 5 to 7 is so that it's not too many or too cumbersome. But everything you have written down in that your map, try to let it fit into 5 to 7 of those groups that you have just written out. And from there, you can now create your chapters. This is how you identify your chapters. Anyone that seems like a subtopic, like a major topic under your section, can be the main chapter. You can use it to form a chapter. Then other ideas that you have written down, because when you're doing a brain dump, different ideas are just coming down. For example, if it's how to be visible online, part of the ideas that might come is, okay, social media, content marketing, this, that, use images, listen, social media listening. What are people talking about? What are they complaining of? And all that. Check Quora, check online, check question and answer sites, forums like Nairaland. What questions are people asking repeatedly? Then ensuring you're answering those questions. That would all help with online visibility. So you definitely have the main idea. For example, content marketing might be like the main idea, and you now have other things underneath. Okay, so you are able to get your chapter that way, and other ideas that don't seem like a major idea can be placed under the chapter. All those ones that seem like subtopic or subtopics can now be placed under the chapters as outlines. So now that you have gotten your chapter, the idea, if you have questions, you can please ask so that I'll be able to address that during this period. Okay, so you will now have outlines. Now that you have your chapter, which is like the major topic, you first of all you divided them into sections, like 5 to 7 sections, main ideas, and you try to put all those things that you got from your brain dump under those sections. Now you have been able to pick out your chapter by looking at the one that has the central theme under your section, like a subtopic, and all those ones that seem like smaller, you can now place them under the chapters as outlines, so that by the time you're done, even if it's not looking so perfect, you have a better understanding of what you should write, because you have grouped similar things together. Then you can now go to your maybe word processor or wherever it is that you want to write, and now begin to write. You type out the chapter, you now put the outlines, and you can now start typing inside. Okay, so that's like the mind mapping process. Now once you've done that, what that just means is when you're ready to write, you already have the chapters, you have the outlines, all those subtopics that are not necessarily chapters, that you have placed them under the chapters that would help add value. Hello, Ade Akinjobi. Okay, so you have placed them under the chapters, and they will help add value and flesh to that chapter to make sense. Okay, now what you need to do after you have created your outline, when you're ready, you can choose to now do your chapters maybe one day at a time or different ways, but mind mapping will enable you to identify the different parts of your book, the different chapters of your book, and from there, when you're ready to write, it makes it easier. So that's like the first major step. What are now the easy ways to write your book? The mind mapping will definitely make it easy. Hello, Taiwo. Thank you for joining in. We'll make it easy because now if you're having, you can't really have writer's block when you already know that, okay, what you want to talk about is how to sing, or maybe you've broken it down, how to do your throat or your posture. Okay, maybe if that chapter is about posture, during singing, it's easier for you to begin to write and flow because you've broken it down to chapters and say this chapter, this is the main topic. Then you can now outline. Now let me give you another key advice or way by which you can determine the outlines under a chapter. Just begin to ask yourself, what are the questions people will ask pertaining to this chapter? If this chapter is about singing posture, people might want to know, okay, what's the best way to stand? What's the best way to position your chest? What's the best way to position your throat, your mouth? So if you write those questions as outlines under that chapter, it will make it easy for you to write out that chapter. So that's like doing mind mapping also for a chapter when you're ready to write it. So let me just quickly go to some quick ways by which you could write, and some other quick ways. You can get a recorder and speak the content of each chapter. That is so cool. That's one of the ways by which some people easily write their book, especially if you know that you can now outsource it and say, oh, let someone help you do transcribing. Some people prefer to write. Some people, when they have their pen and paper as they're writing, it's easy for them. The ideas are coming down. Some people prefer to write directly to their laptop. Whichever the case is. Hello, Simeon. Thank you for joining and listening with Benjamin. Thank you. So, depending on you, you can choose to speak. So you can choose to, for example, like I was telling someone, or like I mentioned in the previous days, part of the reasons why I'm doing audio for this challenge is because it's easier for me to just pick up my phone and start talking. I'm more likely going to be consistent and deliver with helping people with this 30-day challenge, because I'm talking. I would have just had my outline, and all I just have to do is look at that particular thing to talk about. Okay, mind mapping, talk about it. Speak, I'll talk about it. And if I choose to convert this to a book, I'll just ensure that someone does just transcribes it for me, or if I think I have the energy and the time. But if you can afford to set aside that cash for it, then great, it's going to be faster. But if you feel, man, to start converting from audio to writing, it's going to be some long thing for me, I'd rather write from the beginning, then cool, you could just do that. So what some people also do is that they speak and you now have someone to transcribe for you. That makes it easy. Another thing is, some people actually have like a done for you service, in which there's this site I saw, it says 7-hour book. Yeah, I think it's called 7-hour book. What they do is, they're experts. They will call you for like up to 7 hours. So it's easier when you know that you just have to devote 1 hour of your time for that interview, that schedule. Of course, you would have had like they would have given you something like a client requirement gathering form, in which you'd have given maybe some information by filling a form. Then all they just have to do is to ask you certain questions. They set aside interviews. So that done for you service, they will ask you the questions they need for up to like 7 hours, and with that they go create your book for you. So that's another way by which you can get your book done quickly. Remember, you can you start with the mind mapping process, in which it's easier for you to just have an idea of the sections, the chapters, the outline. Remember, you could also get an audio recorder and just speak the chapters, so that from there it can now be transcribed and converted, and you can now edit. Another thing you can do is you can outsource, so that they can do a done for you service. The fourth one you can do is you can actually schedule an interview with a friend, so that your friend, he said this one is similar to the outsourcing one that I just mentioned, but this one is that your friend calls you at a set point, a set time, and asks you certain questions. You might have already given your friend maybe those questions, or because you have done your mind mapping and you have an idea of the chapters you should talk about. If you know something, you'll be passionate about it. You'll be able to talk about it effortlessly and easily without much stress. So all what that person just at the phone or at the other end just has to do is to ask you questions, and you pour out your heart talking about it, blah 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 blah, and in the end you can give it to someone to do the transcribing for you, and you'll be able to get your chapter out easily that way. Okay. So another thing you could do is ghostwriting. Like I have a friend, she's into she's a health coach, and there is this other person that is also a health coach that wanted to write a book. You know, everybody wants to sell products like now, maybe online courses or ebooks and all that. There's what we call ghostwriting, in which someone will write on your behalf. Even Ronald Ezumora did that for his own book. So you have the central team, you know that, okay, this is what you want to write about. Maybe how to get a man that is heads over heels in love with you and all that. Or how to lose weight easily and quickly. And you now give it to someone to say, okay, go write this book for me. Most likely what you will be doing is to give it to an expert to go and write the book for you. Then you can now go through the content afterwards to confirm that it meets up with the quality you want. Okay, so that way you're not writing the book, you're outsourcing it, but in the end it's going to be your name that will be on that book. So of course it pays for you to actually go through whatever it is that the person has written for you to be sure that it meets up with the standard or with the book idea and the goal you want the person, your reader, to be able to achieve after reading that book. Okay, so we have spoken on the fact that you can speak your book and have it transcribed. You can outsource it, done for you service in which they interview you. We have the one that is a done for you service in which you are not necessarily interviewed, you just give them the book idea and the person goes to write on it. Then we also have the PLR type in which someone has already written about it. It's for public use. You have the right to use it, you just have to pay a token. So some people actually write about a book idea and anybody in any part of the world can just pay for it and attach their name. It's as simple as that. So because you've paid for it and you now have the right to use that book, you might just edit it, maybe based on your mind mapping or based on your book idea and the transformation you want your clients to have after reading your book. You can now edit what's within that book, but of course that's like the framework done for you. It's just like someone has built a house and you are now saying, okay, I don't like this bedroom, or okay, I want to add a jacuzzi in one part of the building, or I want to add a swimming pool to the compound, but they've already built the house. Nowadays it's like faster to buy a built completed house as against when you're building your own house. So it's similar to that. When you pay for a book that has already been written and you have the license to use that book, and all you just have to do is to edit. Some people that might even be lazy would not even edit it. They will just slam their name on it and they repackage it and sell it. They have their book finished. Okay, so once again, let me do a quick recap. We have the interviewing, in which someone can interview you at scheduled time. That would ensure that definitely you will sit down to talk, because you have committed that person to an appointment and you have committed yourself to an appointment. We have the ghostwriting option. We have the one in which you're using the PLR. Hello, Kunle Kingalabi. Lovely to see that you're here joining us with Bema Joy. Thank you so much for joining and listening. I hope you're getting value. If you have questions, please don't forget to ask them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, so let me now give some quick tips. We have already spoken about the methods in which you can write your book fast. Some other things, another thing that some people do is they repurpose existing content in order to write their book fast. For example, it might be that your blog post, some people convert their blog post into a book because they have written consistently over time. Some people even do that for online courses. It's just that it's now structured, but they get the content from previous content that they have written. Or maybe for those that love doing live videos and they have been talking consistently about a particular topic over time, sometimes they convert that information, they have it transcribed and they form it into a book. Okay, now so some quick tips to help you write fast. Okay, you could join teams. Like all over the world, we have this particular competition going on. There is the NaNoWriMo competition in which people can get to write for the period of November. So because people are writing as a team all over the world, it gingers people to write their book. Or there are some certain Facebook groups, like I think Pen and Ink writers, in which people are encouraged to post their write-ups and other people read their books and all that. Even the open Facebook group in which they're having a competition there. So by writing in a team or consistently, that might also help you write your book fast. That's also a key way in which you could write your book fast, because everybody around you is writing, everybody around you is working in a competition. So that helps you with consistency. Now, you need to have an accountability partner that will sincerely help you in writing your book. Someone that can be on your neck and saying, okay, how far? Have you written today's chapter? What's going on? Where are you? And all that. So you need to get an accountability partner. Remember yesterday we spoke about also after you have determined if your target audience are interested in the book that you have to offer, you have already asked them stylishly, you have added value, and you have told them this are things that can help you solve this problem. Are you interested in knowing more? And they have all shouted yes, interested. And you now take them maybe to a landing page in which you collect their emails and say they should join a notification list. You have a book that is about to come out, or in which you tell them that okay, they can pre-order your book. Currently is 1,000 naira, is $10, or but later it's going to be 3,000 naira, it's going to be $20 or something like that. But if they're buying now, they're going to have so bonuses for buying now, so when you do that, when you do public declaration, you're most likely going to write fast, because when you've committed yourself to collecting people's money, hopefully you're someone of integrity, I believe we are, and you have people pre-order your book, it's going to ginger you to ensure you finish writing that book, because you have people that are expecting to have you deliver that book for them. Apart from the fact that pre-order enables you to know if your book will be viable or not, if you should invest time and resources in writing that book, it enables you be on your toes. For example, I did a pre-order for my book, The Competent Entrepreneur, and I knew I had to deliver. I knew, man, some people have paid a token to have this book out. So you'll be motivated to write your book when you've accepted some form of payment in advance, because you know it's viable than you investing all the time and resources. So that's one way in which you can also have your book written out, some of the tips. Now, another thing is to create time. Consistency is very good. You can say, oh, I'm going to wake up 1 hour earlier. If you used to wake up 6 o'clock before, I'm going to wake up by 5. I'm going to wake up by 4:30. So that between 4:30 and 6, I will be able, maybe after doing my morning prayers, if you pray, I would write for 1 hour. So another thing will be, part of creating time will be, oh, maybe you love watching series. Then you say, oh, I'm not going to be watching series for this period of time. It's just for a set time. I just have this 30-day period in which I want to write my book. So if there are things that you feel are time wasters, in terms of they are not necessarily adding value, there are things that you could do at a later time. There are things that if you let go of, it's not going to significantly affect you financially or affect your overall goal for your life, then you can let go. So if it's that, oh, you just love watching movies 2 hours daily, or you just love walking, but you feel that if you were to enter maybe the train, or you enter a bus, or instead of you driving yourself, you can make use of the staff bus and use that time to be jotting down and writing out your book, then utilize it. So be creative. Begin to look at how you can create time to write your book. If it's that by speaking into your audio recorder, that's going to make it faster for you, great. Another tip that would help you is inform members around you that you don't want to be distracted. If you're living with someone and you're not living alone, it's teamwork. You need to ensure that they understand what you're doing. You need to ensure that they are carried along, because that way they'll be able to support you. So don't feel that members of your family, they are not caring, they are not understanding. You want to write a book and nobody just seems to get it. Have you made them get it? Have you told them that, please, I would really appreciate some time between so and so time, I've scheduled it to write. It could be that you want to do it first thing in the morning, and the advice is it's best for you to schedule time to write when you're at your best. So if you know that you are at your best in the morning, then schedule time out to write early in the morning. If you feel you're at your best maybe late at night, then write it late at night. But on the average, a greater percentage of people are at their best in the mornings when they are not enough stress. The stress of the day have not set in, the hustle and bustle of everything. Okay, so schedule time in the morning, inform people around you so that they can support you and not distract you, and you can plan your time and say, oh, if we used to do this thing together, perhaps we could do it at a later time. It's just for a set period of time. I'm writing my book now. You can delegate. You can have someone else. Maybe you're the one that used to bait the kids. It could be that, oh, okay, your senior brother will be baiting you, or okay, your spouse will assist with that responsibility. If it's that you are the one that used to cook, maybe you look at it that, oh, this time for cooking, perhaps any other member of the family can cook, or perhaps we're going to eat out, or perhaps I'm going to cook food in bulk and have it warmed over time. You use a microwave, or you use your gas cooker, your stove, or whatever it is, and you warm it, and you should reduce the time to cook. The whole idea is you're trying your best to look for how to create time when there seems to be no time, how to get the support of the people around you. Okay, Daphne, thank you for joining in to listen, and Davey, thank you for joining in to listen. I hope everyone is getting value, and if you have questions, please don't forget to ask them so that I could answer them. You can ask them in the comments. So another quick tip is that I had mentioned that before. I talked about writing in a team, joining Facebook groups where maybe they post their content often. Some people even use their timeline, their maybe Facebook timeline, to write one chapter per day. So, and they're able to get their followers that way. They're able to get people interested in what you're doing. Part of the reason why you need to have people on your notification list, or people that are interested and you have made your target audience know that you're writing a book, is so that they can be part of that journey, that success story. You're giving out tips and tricks and so many things, because if you have not written a book and you're not so popular, you're not Stephen King, everybody has read your book before, they know the quality or content of your book, you need to give out value. You need to give out free content. You need to give out content from your book. In short, there will even be a time when you probably have your landing page and you give out a free chapter. That free chapter can be the best part of your book. It should be a book that will make them want more. A book that will know, oh, this is the caliber of person, of author that you are, and wow, I think I really want to read this book. But if you're hoarding everything till when you're finished writing the book, it's going to be difficult for you to get people to want to read that book. So you can be posting maybe chapters on your wall, and people like, oh, wonderful, interesting. Like there's this lady, Rachel. There was a time she was posting on her book, Married to Satan. And people were always listening and writing and commenting. It even enables you to see the engagement that people have. And now our book is out and people are interested in buying it. So you might choose to maybe post everything, or maybe not post everything. Part of the whole idea is also helping you to write. Because there are people that are expecting the next chapter. There are people that are expecting what you have to write, what you have to give. Okay, so a quick recap. Before I do a quick recap, another thing is, now that you have determined your chapters, if you have 5 chapters, remember this is a 30-day challenge. Our idea is not to write a 400-page book. Our idea is to write and publish a book during the season. Nowadays, people don't even really read books that are bulky anymore. They want books that they can finish on time, quickly. Most of the books that are even bestsellers on Amazon now are books that are like short reads. Books that people can read within 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 pages, 40 pages. Now, that does not mean you should write books that are less and of substandard, but the whole idea is ensure people can get transformation. Okay, let me just give this joke. There's this joke people talk about home videos, Nigerian home videos. I believe we're way better now, but before, it's almost like, in order to have a scene, they do so much activity that it's not only related to Nigerians, though. There are also foreign movies that we've watched. It's really usually related to substandard, low budget movies in which everybody is just doing activity to like fillers to fill up a scene. So you don't have to put fillers and put big words and grammar just to fill up your book. They'll get tired. I'm sure the idea is you want them to read the book, think it's interesting, write a review, recommend your book. But if you have written story and all you just want to say, move straight down, but yet you talk before you say move straight down, and all you just wanted to say is move straight down, they will just drop the book because they're like too much fluff. Okay? So the idea is add value. Anything that is not necessary, that is not related to them achieving their transformation or the goal you have set for your readers, don't add it. So that way you can quickly get your book done on time. It's not about the number of pages you write in 500 word page. Most likely they won't read it. And remember, in order to create a bestseller, it's even good for you to have series. People that create bestsellers, because if you have read a book by an author before, tell me, and that book was interesting, wouldn't you be interested in reading another book by that author? So that's a bestseller secret I've just given you. Best-selling authors tend to have books that are in series. Hello, Emanuela. Thank you for joining and listening. So best-selling authors tend to have books that they put in series. They don't put all the idea. In short, even if you put all the idea in one book, it might make it too bulky and tired. So they're looking forward to your next book. They're looking forward to it's like a sequel. It doesn't always have to follow that way. It's not compulsory for you to remove quality content from one side and say you must put in another book. If you can fit in one book, great. But if you feel that it's a whole lot, then break it. They would love to read episode 2, sequel 2, or whatever of your book. Okay, so determine your word count. Determine to write maybe a chapter per day. We are going to write and finish our book within these 30 days. I myself must commit to writing a book, and I have there's still going to be something else that I want you to write called a reader's magnet. So let's target writing our book within 1 to 2 weeks. Because there's several other things, in short, maybe like about 1 week or to 2 weeks, because there's several other things we need to do. I will need us to create something else that we'll call a reader's magnet, which is supposed to help attract more readers and also help you as a best-selling author. Okay? So once again, if you have questions, please don't forget to ask. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you joining and listening live. A quick recap: we spoke about mind mapping. I said I'm going to put up a video on mind mapping. We said with mind mapping, you do a brain dump. You have like about maybe 5 to 7 themes which you can use as your sections. All those items in your brain dump, you now try to fit them into that 5 to 7 topics, general topics, for your main book topic. Then the main topics under the sections will form your chapter. All those subtopics within your the subtopics within the chapters will form the outlines. Okay? And from there, you can begin to ask your questions that will also help you as more outlines for this chapter. What are the questions that my readers would love to ask, would like to know about? That will help you flesh out that chapter even more for your outline. Okay? And we also said you could speak your book, in which you could do you now transcribe it when you're done. You just pick your audio recorder with your mind mapping. You already know the chapters, so that helps remove writer's block. Because if you know your topic and something you're passionate about, all you just have to do is think of the chapter and begin to talk. Once you're done talking, you can give it to someone to transcribe, and you can now have it. You can edit it. We spoke about the Done For You interview. There is this service that they say 7-hour book, in which you are sourcing it, scheduled time, 1 hour each time. They will ask you certain questions, and after 7 hours, they will create your book for you. We spoke about ghost writing, in which someone else will write for you, but your name will be on the book. You tell the person what you want. If you have done the mind mapping process, you can choose to give the person the chapters that you want the person to write on, and all the person just has to do is to write the book for you, and you take the glory, you take the the credit for it. We spoke also about using PLR materials, in which you buy it. Anybody that buys such materials can use it in any way they want. So you can just either add your name or you edit it a bit and you have your book. And we spoke about thank you. We spoke about tips for fast writing, accountability partner, public declaration, creating time, asking for support from members of your family, delegating some of your tasks, writing in a team, writing in Facebook groups or your profile so that you can write consistently. Some people talk about having a set place to write, if that would help you. I also spoke about having a set time and looking at word count, chapters, determining that, okay, I want to write 1 chapter per day, and looking at consistency. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope you've gotten value from today's training. Today is day 4, how to write your book fast. And if you have questions, don't forget to ask them in the comment section, and I would answer them. So looking forward to seeing you all listen in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be going deeper. We're going to be going deeper into the book, what you should write for your chapter, things that would make your book interesting and will help it to become a bestseller. So thank you once again for listening. Have a fantastic day. Ciao. Bye.